streaming on crossroadstoday.com. The cleanup in Edna makes progress after Monday night's storm. A guilty plea after 53 migrants died in a smuggling operation in San Antonio. And a cave found at Canyon Lake after record low water levels there.
Well, late this afternoon, we had another thunderstorm. Where? In Edna. There's Edna. There's the thunderstorm. It's moving in that way, so hopefully they won't have any problems. This pattern will continue into the weekend. We'll talk more about your weather coming up.
The Athlete of the Week has multiple goals for his senior year. We hear about it in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker. Karina Garcia has the night off. Edna City officials say a little progress being made on cleanup from Monday night's storm. Edna City Manager Gary Braz says they have 5 crews working to pick up limbs, with 11 trucks working at one time. They are asking residents to put other non-tree limb damage in a separate pile in front of their houses. Residents or business owners who have any damage should call Edna City Hall. If Edna residents have damage to property and structures, Jackson County authorities asking citizens and businesses to use the iStat tool. Go to damage.tdem.texas.gov to report damage. A fire in Edna Wednesday afternoon. The fire was at the Cottonwood Apartments, 1400 North Wells Street. The Edna Fire Department responded to the fire just after 4 p.m. The fire took about 30 minutes to get under control. There were no injuries. All 8 units in that building were affected by the fire, and 2 of them were totaled. Only 1 of those units were occupied, and the other 7 were vacant. The cause of the fire under investigation. Port Lavaca police asked for the public's help in finding people responsible for property damage. Last weekend, subjects damaged multiple vehicles in and around Port Lavaca. The people possibly used BB guns to shoot the windows of victims' vehicles. If you can help, please contact the Port Lavaca Police Department at 361-552-3788 or Calhoun County Crime Stoppers at 361-552-CASH or 2274 with information. Dead fish reported found on Matagorda Beach, south of the Colorado River earlier this week. Texas Parks and Wildlife says it was caused by red tide. Parks and Wildlife says those reports continue near places on the Gulf that are fed by the Colorado River, namely in Matagorda County. Parks and Wildlife reports that water samples found very low red tide concentrations at Port O'Connor and no red tide near the Matagorda Ship Channel or the Palacios shoreline. And now let's take a first look at your forecast. Here's First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez. And Mac, that's something that people who go out in the Gulf and fish or boat or whatever have to worry about now, red tide.
And that is caused by the warmth of the water that we've had over the last few months. But now things are beginning to cool down, and also we're getting freshwater inflows from all this nice rain that we're getting. So there's hope. But right about now, you just need to watch it very carefully. There's Edna, and there's another storm moving through Jackson County right about there. Hopefully they won't have any problems. In the city, we don't have any rain right now, but we did earlier. And we're going to have some more showers again tomorrow afternoon. But then there's a cooling trend for next week, and we'll talk about that coming up in a moment.
Mike, thank you. A man indicted in a smuggling operation that left 53 migrants dead in San Antonio has pleaded guilty. 29-year-old Christian Martinez of Palestine pleaded guilty to 4 charges, including a count of transportation of migrants resulting in death. The migrants died in July 2022 after being trapped in the back of a sweltering semi-truck. A Homeland Security investigations agent at the time called it the deadliest human smuggling incident in U.S. history. Martinez faces up to life in prison. More than 24 buses carrying migrants arrived in Chicago from Texas over the past week. The Windy City struggling to find space to house all of them.
Following a near record day of bus arrivals, more of them chartered into the city. Late Wednesday night, we were there as adults and small children stepped off a bus and were greeted with blankets. Volunteers helping them say they're doing so with limited resources.
We cannot afford to accommodate this.
And some residents are calling for the city to put more funding into their communities instead.
Southside has been under-resourced, underfunded for years, for decades. And it's disrespectful to the community.
We took these concerns to Mayor Brandon Johnson.
We've seen police stations saturated, volunteers stretched thin. With all of that said, will Chicago continue to be a welcoming sanctuary city?
Yes. Look, during difficult times, sometimes there are individuals who feel the pressure, and sometimes our values are called into question. We're the city of Chicago, and this mission that the entire country has endured over the last year and a half, has been one that, of course, that has pressed our convictions. But we don't necessarily have to acquiesce to fear, because we are being pressed.
The mayor also adding that the city continues to open shelters and its goal is to move people out of the police stations, but did not give a timeline of when that would be.
We're going to continue to work hard to come up with a solution that works for everyone in the city.
The mayor of El Paso and Governor Greg Abbott arranged for the buses to arrive in Chicago. Attorney General Ken Paxton has filed a lawsuit against Yelp after the company violated Texas Deceptive Trade Practices Act. Paxton said Yelp added inaccurate and misleading language to listings on pregnancy resource centers appearing in the search results on Yelp's app and website. Yelp is suing Texas over its labeling of crisis pregnancy centers in the state. The listings note the centers do not provide abortions or referrals for the procedures. According to Yelp's complaint, Paxton wants to change that. We are just days away from a possible federal government showdown. If it happens, the impact on people's lives will extend far beyond Washington, D.C. Government workers forced to go without pay may turn to food pantries for help.
Michelle Ogilvy's been volunteering with the River Food Pantry for a year.
People will wait in some of the lines sometimes can take an hour and a half to 2 hours.
From 2022 to 2023, the need at River Food Pantry has increased by 20%, many of which are first-time visitors.
Like I said, a lot of them are people that probably never thought they would be here. And a lot of people might come through and be like, this is my first time here. How does this work?
Ogilvy does what she can to make sure everyone feels welcome.
That are working, people that are students, people that just right now going to the grocery stores has become so expensive.
A government shutdown would mean hundreds of Dane County community members would be furloughed or without pay. Helen Osborne Senatu's Director of Operations wants those people to know that the River Food Pantry is there if they need it.
We are dedicated to continuing to serve our community, and so if the government does shut down, we will continue to serve food and meals just as we have been.
A shutdown would also impact families benefiting from federally funded health and nutrition programs, increasing the number of people visiting the food pantry.
If they don't get those benefits, they might come here every week instead of only once a month. But like I said, kind of whatever happens, we'll work really hard to make sure that we can still be here and continue to serve.
Ogilvy says everyone goes through hard times, and she says no one is judged at the River Food Pantry. Everyone is welcome.
As you do see a lot of the people and you start to know what people will look for, and you're able to find things or even have things waiting for them.
The River Food Pantry is a staple of the Madison community. Government shutdown or not, Helen and her team say they have the inventory and will be there for those in need.
The record low water levels at Canyon Lake have led to finding a cave that was previously hidden underwater. J.M. Perez, who works on the lake, told KSAT he went to take pictures and shared photos from inside. Perez says he only went back about 10 feet, but he estimated the cave likely went back about 30 feet. Perez he saw lots of stalagmites. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers says the public should not go into caves for their own safety. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6, U.S. Army Private Travis King back on U.S. soil in San Antonio. Also ahead, fast food workers in California set to receive $20 an hour. U.S. Army Private Travis King back in the USA. King, who was recently set free by North Korea, landed at Joint Base San Antonio Fort Sam Houston Thursday morning. U.S. military officials say King, quote, willfully and without authorization, quote, crossed the military demarcation line into North Korea in July. North Korean state media reports the country decided to expel King, and U.S. officials told CNN they made no concessions for King's transfer. King expected to be moved to Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio. In just a few days, nearly 44 million Americans are going to have to start repaying their student loan debt. Starting in October, the first payments are due for most borrowers, following more than 3 years of tolerance.
Student loan payments are back, adding to a growing list of things eating away at Americans' finances. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau says 1 in 5 people with student loans are likely to struggle once their payments resume in October.
So it does feel like a even bigger burden for certain people. So there's kind of like this mix of feelings.
And according to a Bankrate survey, nearly a quarter of Americans with student loan debt say borrowing too much for their education is their biggest financial regret.
The numbers are so unreal and astronomical that I can't even fathom making a payment.
If I had that ability to talk to my younger self, I would have never, ever gone for that law degree. These student loans have been a noose around my neck for 20 years.
According to federal education data, the average student loan borrower owes over $37,000, costing on average up to $300 a month.
If you have debt, you really want to face it head on and figure out a plan for it.
So what can you do now to get a handle on your debt? 1, get your finances in order. See where you can trim down now to handle that additional monthly expense. 2, research and sign up for a repayment plan.
So an income-based plan that will make sure that your payment doesn't exceed a certain percentage of what you're making.
3, get back on the bandwagon. Make the necessary adjustments to make one-time payments and avoid delinquencies. For Consumer Watch, I'm Cole Higgins.
More than 500,000 fast food workers in California is set to receive $20 an hour. The governor there signed a new bill into law today that will take effect April 1st. It applies to fast food restaurants that have at least 60 locations nationwide. The legislation also establishes a statewide fast food council to develop minimum standards on wages, working hours, and workplace conditions.
Once this signature is affixed to the bill, and we will hold them to that account and advance this cause. And I'll just remind you this cause, and very briefly, 557,000 people. 557,000 people at 30,000 locations. This is a big deal. $20 an hour, 80% of the workforce.
California now among the first states to have a minimum wage specifically for fast food workers. Their minimum wage for all other workers, $15.50 per hour. That's among the highest in the country. Hey, would you like a viewer poll with that story tonight? All right, scan this QR code on your screen to vote now. Question is, what do you think the minimum wage for fast food workers in Texas should be? And the answer that had the most votes, 44% of the voters say $15 an hour should be just about right for the Lone Star State. We thank you so much for voting. We want to hear your opinion. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we'll have an update on 25 News Now at 10. United Airlines says it is making an effort to improve the travel experience for passengers with disabilities. It starts with a new online tool for customers with wheelchairs. The airline says disabled passengers can enter the dimensions of their chairs into the system. Then the search engine will prioritize planes with big enough cargo doors. United says customers can get reimbursements if they're forced into a pricier flight. The airline says it plans to roll out the changes early next year. United says it's also exploring how to better help if wheelchairs are damaged or delayed.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We did have a few little showers around the area. We had one right downtown Victoria. Also, we're looking at activity rolling in from the Houston area in toward Jackson County. You can see all that stuff sort of drifting in. And there's more out in the Gulf. The reason we're getting this is we don't have high pressure on top of us and a little bit of heating triggering that off. That's going to happen for the weekend. But, you know, coming up next week, I think you're going to like this forecast. We'll be talking about it in just a moment.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Check check, 1 2 1 2.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. 91 degrees right about now. We only got up to 92 as a high temperature. That's nice. I mean, it's closer to our average temperature of 89. And we did have a few little showers that rolled through the area. Now, late this afternoon in Jackson County, right by Edna, for the third day in a row, we had a big thunderstorm develop right about there. If you're northwest of Victoria, you might see that. It's going to be a towering storm, but it doesn't look like it has any hail in it. And of course, if it continues drifting in that direction, should be falling apart. Once the sun goes down, absolutely they'll start drifting and falling apart. And we looked at the scattered activity around the area, the coastal bend really, all this afternoon. And there's more stuff out in the Gulf of Mexico, which will drift onshore with the sea breeze during the afternoon hours of the next few days. Then I got some really big news coming up in a moment. These are the high temperatures across Texas today. These are the observed. And you can see we're still in the 90s. Here we are already in fall, still in the 90s. We look for the forecast for tomorrow. We're still in the 90s, looking at about a 96 tomorrow, and pretty much everybody in Texas dealing with the 90s. But there is a change coming, a big pattern change coming for our area. Now, the high pressure, or the dome that we've talked about, is out here in the southwest. It's going to scoot up into the central plains because it's getting pushed by the first big winter storm of the season. You can see how it's going to be over us for a little bit, but then it moves to the plains, and they're actually going to get a bit of a warming trend while we get scattered showers beneath it. Now, what am I talking about here? Well, you see this deep trough? That is big. This is a pattern change. That is a cold winter storm that'll roll into the west coast, then it'll get through the Rockies, and it's forecast to get down into our area when? 7 days from now, probably on Thursday of next week. You'll actually be looking at much cooler weather. Here again is another view of it. You can see how the warm air is going to be piled up here, which may be their last warming trend until things start changing. But here's the big cold pocket of air that's going to be rolling toward us. And yes, there is going to be a temperature in the mid-80s sometime next week. So we're pretty excited about that. Out in the Atlantic, it's still very busy. We have Tropical Storm Philippe. Philippe, it looked like it was headed toward the Caribbean, but the newest forecast takes it up into the Atlantic, and it's actually falling apart because right behind it, Rena is sort of taking away some of its energy. Rena is also going to be going up into the Atlantic, so nobody's going to have to deal with that problem. Here's your forecast if you happen to have a chance to go doing a little fishing tomorrow morning. Your sunrise at 7:20 in the morning. Your sundown is now at 7:14. The good news is we've got a little northeast wind, light in the morning, picking up a little bit stronger by afternoon to about 15 to 20. So just know that it'll be easterly and getting stronger by the afternoon. For your day planner in Port Lavaca, starting off at 77, getting up to 90. Looking for partly cloudy skies and 1 or 2 little afternoon showers. And that's because it's the 90s. If it were cooler than that, we wouldn't pop anything. High tomorrow, 94 in Cuero. Now, here's what we're talking about. Garden variety showers here in the mid-90s. And then Monday, 30% chance of showers, low 90s. And then Wednesday, here it is. We've got a 40% chance of showers, a high of 91. And I put a smiley face right here because 85 is the forecast high next Thursday. Let's keep our fingers crossed that this whole forecast holds together. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Don, back to you.
All right, Mac, thank you. And Sports Director Gino Perez is here. And we got to meet the Athlete of the Week last Friday night, Gino, because he was your Crossroads Football Live guest.
Yeah, he's awesome, and he's doing his best Deebo Samuel impression because he plays everywhere on the field. We hear from him after the break. At Crossroads, the Athlete of the Week helped lead his team to its first district win of the season and did so in a variety of ways. Victoria East Titans running back, wideout, and now Wildcat quarterback Nigerel Prater did it all in the victory over Corpus Christi Carroll, scoring multiple touchdowns in the win. Just like the variety of positions he plays, Prater goes by a plethora of nicknames, including Slash and Popeye, but the one most people use is Nike. According to him, the nickname came from his 7th grade Spanish class, and it just stuck. First-year Victoria East head coach Charlie Reeve said having an athlete like Prater is a luxury.
You know, Nigerel is a guy that obviously is a great weapon for us, and our whole offense is built on, you know, getting the ball in our playmakers' hands, and you've seen him throw the football now, and so that just adds another element to his game. So what he's able to bring to the offense has been really, really important, and we'll continue to find ways to get those guys the ball.
This Victoria East team is young but has a lot of potential, and having a new head coach could propel the team in a positive direction. Popeye said he has had a good season so far, but is thankful to Coach Reeve for putting him in a position to succeed.
It's like just the next play mentality. Even if I mess up, next play, I'm always trying to do my best. I'm always going to keep working hard, especially not just for myself, for my teammates, because, you know, it's a team sport.
The senior has a few goals this season, which includes winning the district title, beating Victoria West in the Battle of the Boot, and making a deep run in the playoffs. Nike also wants to get a scholarship in football and major in engineering in college. For now, he is thankful for the support he has received up to this point and focused on getting the second district win of the year over Miller.
I think really what comes down to it is going to be who's going to want it more in effort. And I know we're hungry. We really want it. I think it's really important, especially having someone like my mom there for me all the times, especially on the field, especially off the field in the classroom and just in life, always on me 24/7, and I wouldn't rather have it any other way.
Slash is a multi-sport athlete that competes in football, track, and may pick up baseball again later this year. Before games, the Titan munches on pineapples and other fruits, along with Pedialyte to stay hydrated while listening to a variety of music to get prepared every game night. Prater wears the number 1 and has been the top weapon for the Victoria East offense this year. 3 rushing touchdowns and 1 through the air with a total of 195 yards is the reason why Nigerel Prater is the athlete of the week. Well, tonight the Victoria West Warriors take on Corpus Christi Moody in Corpus. That game starts at 7. Well, that's your sports. Don, back to you.
Gino, thank you. We're back in a moment. A man recognized as the world's oldest surfer, still going strong, hanging 10 days before his 90th birthday. And finally tonight, a Japanese man recognized by the Guinness World Records as the world's oldest surfer tried out a new trick days before his 90th birthday. Sano Saichi began surfing when he was 80 years old. At age 89, he took on a new challenge, trying to surf on one leg. But Sano was unable to achieve the feat in one day, but did not give up trying. Sano said he stopped thinking about his age ever since he started surfing. My question is, how do you say in Japanese, surf's up, dude? I don't know how that works. To be doing that at 90, oh my God.
Well, to start at 80 too is pretty crazy as well.
I know. Yeah, go on out there in the surf and go for it. But I noticed it's a surf park. It's not in the not in the actual ocean, which, you know, because surf breakers can really knock you down. I mean, so good stuff anyway. But he's active. He's moving around.
Yeah.
Hey, a couple of chances for afternoon showers coming up for the next couple of days into the weekend. But the best news of all is that we've got an honest-to-goodness cold front coming in on Wednesday night, and your high temperature next Thursday, 85 degrees for the first time in a lifetime.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like a lifetime.
Thank you, Micah. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tonight for 25 News Now at 10. Have a good one, everybody.